Okay, so in this video, I would like to discuss with you another instrument, or one of the instruments that is at the use of organizations in society to guarantee that they can have a more sustainable and responsible and ethical attitude in society, in the marketplace, but generally in society. I'm talking about the Global Compact and namely the 10 principles of the Global Compact. Let me just share with you. So this website that I invite you again to spend some time here and to look at these principles and to reflect on how these principles can help organizations to be more ethical. I can tell you that Excelia signed the Global Compact, so Excelia is obliged and committed to these principles, and the principles are very basic. Okay, so the principles are organized in groups, so they refer to human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. So it's very simple. Okay, so basically, organizations commit to abide by principles connected with human rights, so the respect of human rights, also the respect of generally accepted labor laws, environment, and anti-corruption. But if we go a little bit inside of these principles, we can see what each of them means. So, for instance, in the human rights principle, one human rights. So, the first one is that businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights. And then you have here the explanation and the telling you exactly why companies should care. And basically, companies should care because for two reasons. First, from a deontological perspective, they should care because it is the good thing to do. It's their duty. You see here that we are in the field of the ethics of duty. While governments have the primary duty to protect, respect, and fulfill human rights, other organizations and individuals have important complementary roles to play in respecting and supporting human rights. So what is implicit here is that organizations and individuals have the duty to comply to human rights. Okay, so you see that we are in the case of the ethics of duty here. And so companies should care because if they apply, as we saw, the golden rule, so they would like to be in a world where the respect for human rights would be generally accepted rule, that all companies would do that. And then you have also several instructions for what companies can do in terms of human rights. So respecting is the first one. So they should respect human rights. So meaning that they should not. So that they should take every human being as an individual in itself. They should not oblige them to forced labor. They should respect their democratic rights, etc., 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 etc. So, but we start there, respecting human rights. But then there is some advice for companies or organizations to determine the scope of their responsibility, because not all companies, for instance, at Excelia, we are not very much concerned about forced labor. Okay, but we should be concerned about freedom of speech or democratic environment. And why not forced labor? Well, because we are not a factory and we are a school. Okay, so there's these analysis of the scope of responsibilities and the adaptation of the business or the activity to how it can impact human rights. And then, well, open commitment and also clear activities that companies should do. So whenever a company or an organization like Excelia decides to adopt the global compact, what we have to do is every 2 years we have to demonstrate that we follow all of this. So this is just for the human rights, but then you have the second principle: business should make sure that they are not complicit in human rights abuses. And so once again, so what does this mean? That, well, down the supply chain, for instance, we don't have suppliers that don't comply with human rights, that up the stream we don't have also clients that are not compliant with human rights, etc., etc., etc. And so they explain how this complicity could be expressed. And again, once again, why should companies care? And then what should companies do? Okay, so it's very simple and very straightforward, and it's a very good guide, okay, to ethical activity of companies. Once again, who defines that? After we have seen the issues or the cultural issues related with ethics, one may ask, okay, who defines what is right and wrong? Well, as in this case, the global compact, and in the case of the SDGs that you are going to see after, this is the result of a commitment, of a compromise, of a discussion of the majority of countries in the world. And so if you want, the ethical principles, the local ethical principles, are somehow transmitted and parsed down to the principles. Of course, that, as we will discuss in the next video, this entails highly diplomatic discussions. It is not always very straightforward, but at least can be argued that this exists, and that if companies decide, or organizations decide to adopt these, then at least we know that they follow these principles. For instance, the principle 3 of labor is business should uphold the freedom of association and the effective recognition of the rights to collective bargaining. So this is unions. So basically, if a company signs the Global Compact, it should recognize the power of unions and should be able to collaborate with unions. And then, of course, you have forced labor, child labor, discrimination. And this one is tricky, can be tricky, because there is always, as we have discussed before, so you have positive discrimination, negative discrimination. So what is the meaning of discrimination here? But once again, if companies commit to this principle, they should define what discrimination is, and then how they act on it, why this is important for them, what they can do, and how this can impact them. Very quickly, in terms of environment, so organizations should support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges, meaning that they should incorporate in their business models the problems related with the environment, undertake initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility, and encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. So you see that here it's kind of a map. And again, okay, as I told you, in each of these, you have the explanation. What does this mean? Why should companies care? What can companies do, etc. So it's a very comprehensive roadmap. And it's not very strict, and it's not kind of a quality assurance audit, if you want, but is a set of guidelines that will help companies to streamline their activities. And so by committing to these principles, organizations are at least saying that, okay, we want to be responsible. We want to contribute to a more sustainable world. We want to be more ethical. So, if you want, this is again another instrument that I invite you to spend some time on that website and to explore it, because it is an interesting way of seeing the real translation of what we have discussed very highly in terms of theory, the utilitarianism, the ontology, even the virtues, ethics. And then there is these basic translations that say to companies what they can do, what they cannot do, how this applies to them. But in the background, of course, that in the background, what exists is the ethical reflection and the discussion that will define that one principle should be like that and another principle should be something else. Okay, so I invite you to spend some time in this website, and you can continue to watch the other videos, because in each video I will tell you another story that will together complete this second session of our module. And all videos are important so have relevant knowledge, convey relevant knowledge to you, not only for the TDs, but also for the exam and for your life. I hope for your future, for your overall knowledge and for your future career. Okay. So see you in the next video.